Welcome back to We Remember Her, the podcast where we explore the lives of women throughout history who never had children but still left a lasting mark on the world. And today, we're stepping into the world of Jane Austen. On a cold December morning in 1775, in the Hampshire village of Steventon, a baby girl was born into an English rectory surrounded by fields, family, books, and conversation. Her name was Jane Austen. At first, there was nothing about that beginning that would have suggested literary immortality. She wasn't born into a royal family. She wasn't raised in some grand estate. She was one of 8 children in a lively household led by her father, a clergyman, and her mother, who was known for being practical and sharp. But the house she grew up in was full of words. Books were everywhere. Her father encouraged learning, and the Austen children read, wrote, and even staged little performances for one another. It was the kind of home where a girl could quietly begin to notice everything. And Jane really did notice everything. The way people performed politeness, the way money shaped marriage, the way women were expected to smile through disappointment, the way security and affection were often tangled together. That mattered. Because in Jane Austen's world, marriage wasn't just about love. For women, it could mean survival, stability, respectability, a future. And Jane understood that deeply. She watched women's lives being shaped by proposals, inheritances, and social expectations. But even as she lived inside that world, she was also quietly writing about it. From a young age, she was creating stories. Funny ones, exaggerated ones, clever ones. But over time, that gift sharpened into something else, a way of seeing. A way of making ordinary life feel full of tension, intelligence, and consequence. And while Jane Austen never married, that doesn't mean marriage never touched her own life. There were possible romances, including Tom Lefroy, a young man she seems to have felt something for. And then later, there was a proposal from Harris Bigwither. She accepted him. And then, by the next morning, she changed her mind. And that moment says so much. Because on paper, he offered what many women were supposed to want: security, stability, a respectable future. But Jane stepped away from that path. She never married. She never had children. And in the world she lived in, that could have meant a life dismissed as small or incomplete. But that is not the life Jane Austen built. What filled her life instead was thought, family, observation, and writing, especially writing. She remained deeply close to her sister Cassandra, who seems to have been the most important relationship of her life. The two women shared a bond that lasted for decades. And when life became more uncertain after their father died, Jane, Cassandra, and their mother had to rely more heavily on family support. That financial vulnerability, that instability unmarried women could face, is something Jane Austen knew personally. And it gave her novels even more depth. Because when she wrote about women weighing love against security, or pride against practicality, or happiness against what society expected of them, she understood that world from the inside. Eventually, after years of writing and revising, her major novels entered the world: Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, Emma, later Persuasion. And what she gave literature was so much more than romance. She gave women interior lives, women who were observant, flawed, intelligent, disappointed, proud, funny, restrained, longing, women who felt real, Elizabeth Bennet, Anne Elliot, Emma Woodhouse, Eleanor Dashwood. These weren't just heroines, they were people. And that changed literature. Jane Austen died in 1817 at just 41 years old. But her story didn't end there. Her books outlived the world that first produced them. They moved through generations, through classrooms, films, essays, and adaptations. Her voice remained, her characters remained, her understanding of human behaviour remained. And that's what makes her life so powerful to look back on. She never followed the script most expected of women in her time. Jane Austen never had children, and still, we remember her. Thank you for listening to We Remember Her. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the podcast and YouTube channel, and join me next time as we step into the life of another unforgettable child-free woman from history.